You've got 5 seconds to open this gate or I'm calling the cops. The woman wearing a gaudy pink blazer was practically seething with anger. Her face flushed red as she screamed through the iron bars of my ranch gate. Her blonde bob was razor-cropped, her heels sinking into the gravel, and she was holding a clipboard like a grenade. Her eyes bulged, veins thumping in her neck. "I don't care if you're not in the HOA," she bellowed. "The neighborhood has every right to peer at this property." I planted my feet, arms crossed. "Ma'am, I've explained it a dozen times. This is private property. I'm not one of your HOA members. Never signed a thing. Never paid a dime. This ranch has been Harper land since 1963, long before your McMansion maze was constructed. You're trespassing and my cameras are rolling. Unless you want to talk to the sheriff, I tell you to leave." Instead, she lost it. Linda, because she had to be, Linda charged the gate, grabbed the bars and shook them like she could bring them down with rage. "I'm the HOA president," she screamed. "I have authority. I'll bring the county down on you. You think you can hide out here with your hay and dirty cows? I'll get in." I stepped back, amazed by her breakdown. Then she struck a new pitch. "Open this gate or I'll have it knocked down." She pulled out her phone and called. "Yes, this is a mess. Caldwell, president of Crestwood Estates, HOA. I need a gate torn down from illegally held land. Now I'll supervise the demolition personally." I blinked. Demolition. Was this woman crazy? Before I could react, 2 hulking pickup trucks tore up behind her. One was filled with chains and equipment. The other had 3 men in yellow vests. My jaw struck the ground. She was actually going to tear down my gate. As a laborer unhooked a chain, I ran for the house, not in fear but to get my phone, my camera, and just in case my granddad's shotgun. Let me roll back 3 weeks ago. I'd returned to my grandfather's ranch just outside the town. I'd spent 8 years in Seattle, bound to a soul-crushing tech job, which left me hollow. When Granddad died, he left me this ranch, peaceful, expansive retreat far from the city's din. It had to be fixed up, but the instant I ground onto the gravel road, it was home. The ranch sat 500 yards away from Crestwood Estates, a gated suburb of tract houses and sameness mailboxes. That existence had nothing to do with me. Granddad had struggled tooth and nail to preserve this land. Suburban sprawl, free even hammering a sign on the road. Private ranch, not HOA land? But Crestwood wasn't in the know. Drama began my second week of being back. A flyer was stuck on my mailbox. Crestwood HOA notice. Everyone has to go along with the landscaping rules. Inspection scheduled. I threw it out. Days later, a silver BMW pulled into my drive. A woman in her 50s, all plastic smiles and pearls, stood there brandishing a measuring tape. "Just taking routine measurements," she chirped. "For what?" I inquired of. "HOA records." She replied, then stumbled. "You're in Crestwood Estates, correct?" "Nope." I told her. "This is Harper Ranch. Check your—" "That's impossible. Your land abuts Crestwood." "Technically not." I cut in. "You're on private property. Please leave." She gave me a toxic stare and peeled out. That was Linda Caldwell Crestwood's self-proclaimed Queen HOA president and dictator of lawn heights and paint swatches. She didn't let up. First was a welcome packet with bylaws and dues forms into the garbage, then a letter asserting that my barn broke outside storage regulations, ignored. Then threats, fines for my fences, my grazing cattle, even my tractor. I ignored those as well, but Linda was not accustomed to being ignored, and that's when she lost it. I'd installed solar-powered cameras days prior to her gate fit of rage motion sensors, floodlights, a loudspeaker by the barn. So when she came rolling up with her clipboard and a demolition crew, I was prepared. I picked up my phone, pressed record, and stepped onto the porch. One of the workers was chaining my gate to his truck, Linda barking orders, "Watch the hinges, don't scratch my BMW." The engine revved, my heart pounded. This crazy person was going to ruin my property. I flipped on the loudspeaker, step away from the gate. "This is your only warning," Linda. Froze, looking for the voice. The worker cut the engine. "Who's that?" I stepped forward. Phone confronted the homeowner. "What you're doing is illegal." Linda's face twisted. You don't own this land. You're trespassing on Crestwood's border, and I have papers to take this gate down. Show me, I said. She did not move. Thought so, you're on tape, and the county will see it all. Touch that gate, and I filed charges. She beat red, stormed over to the truck, and shouted, "Do it!" The engine roared, the chain tightened, and then chaos. Linda jumped onto the truck's hood, flailing like a crazy cheerleader. The driver slammed the brakes. She pointed past me, screaming, "We'll take this entire ranch." I turned, and my heart stopped. A sheriff's car, lights flashing, was pulling up. Sheriff Danver got out, boots crunching gravel, his weathered face inscrutable behind mirrored shades. Linda slid off the hood, smoothing her blazer like she hadn't just lost her mind. The workers stepped back, nervous. "What's happening?" Danvers asked, voice firm but low. Linda plastered on a smile. "Sheriff, thank goodness, this man's blocking Crestwood's access to our perimeter trails. As HOA President, I'm enforcing authorized adjustments. This gate's illegal." I began to speak, but Danvers held up his hand. He examined the chain, the tire marks, then pulled out a folder from his automobile, MS Caldwell. He said, "I just left the county office. This ranch belongs to Ethan Harper, deed in 1963. No shared boundary, no easement, and certainly no HOA jurisdiction." He flipped open the folder, displaying stamped deeds. "I pulled these following 3 complaints from Mr. Harper regarding trespassing and harassment. Your HOA has no claim here." Linda's jaw dropped, but I was informed by who dams pressed. She stammered. "You ordered contractors to damage private property," he went on. "That's criminal mischief, perhaps a felony." Linda backed up, heels wobbling. Danvers turned to me. "Press charges." I glanced at her, this petty tyrant, tumbling. "Not today," I retorted. "But if she sets foot here again, I will." Danvers nodded. "You heard him, a mess." "Caldwell, leave." She ran to her BMW, slamming the door, her crew lagging like scolded dogs. Danvers hung around. "Get a taller fence." "Ethan, these HOA types think they own the world." I thanked him, but the triumph felt shallow. For a few days, the ranch lay quiet. I fixed the chicken coop, mended a water line, painted the barn, Granddad's favorite green. I planted lavender down the fence for Grandma Rose. No flyers, no Linda. Then came a gentle knock. A lanky kid about 17 stood there fidgeting. "I'm Caleb," he said. "I live in Crestwood. My mom's the HOA president." I stiffened. "Linda's your mom." He nodded, sheepish. "I'm sorry about her. She's been a mess since Dad left Crestwoods, her obsession controlling it, perfecting it. Your ranch, all wild and free, freaks her out. She believes it'll crash property values." "That's not an excuse," I said, "I know." He said, "She's not bad, just lost." I cooled lemonade. We sat on the porch, Caleb complaining about Crestwood's rules. His skateboard ramp received a fine. A neighbor got cited for incorrect flowers. It sounded like a dystopia. He left, and I thought the storm was over. Then I found a note under my gate. "You won round 1, but the HOA has lawyers, power, and county friends. You can't hide forever," and signed. But Linda's venom was unmistakable. I pocketed it and headed to the barn, then froze. Across my backfield near Crestwood's trail, workers were planting orange flags. One drove a stake into my soil. They were back, and this time they wanted the whole ranch. I stormed across the field, wind tossing dust and lavender. "Hey!" I yelled. A worker in sunglasses kept hammering stakes. "You're on private property? Who authorized this?" He shrugged. "Crestwood HOA. We're prepping for a new perimeter fence." I yanked a stake out. "This is my land. I've got deeds proving it." He nodded to a black SUV. Linda stepped out, cool as nice, holding a folder. "Mr. Harper," she cooped. "We're just updating fencing for safety." "This isn't your land," I snapped. Her smile didn't waver. "It is now. The zoning office read rule boundaries for Crestwood's expansion board approved last week." My stomach fell. "That's illegal. Check with the county," she taunted. "Or a lawyer." "Oh, wait. You don't have one, do you?" I gestured at the workers. "Get out." She smirks. "Interfere and I'll file an injunction." Times change. Ethan. I turned away shaking and drove to the county office. There, a clerk named Greg presented me a new map with Crestwood's boundary, swallowing my field redraw filed last month. He said HOA claimed outdated maps. I demanded the paperwork. Hours later, I found it. A letter with my forged signature agreeing to donate 40 feet of my land for community beautification. Linda's sloppy forgery was clear. I called an old college friend, Nate Turner, a lawyer who owed me for bailing him out of a tax mess. He scanned the papers. Obvious fraud, he said. Let's file a challenge and get a restraining order. The next day, my fence with slashed wire cutters created a huge hole. My cameras captured Linda at 3:42 a.m., hooded, snipping away. Humming happily, I forwarded the footage to Nate. Then a black SUV came rolling. 2 men in suits got out. "Mr. Harper, I'm Victor Clean representing Crestwood and MS Caldwell." The taller one said I did not shake his hand. "You're trespassing." He smirked. "Per new boundary filings and your agreement." "The forged one," I snapped back. The shorter man joined in. "Our client has verbal consent. Vacate the disputed area or face court." I stepped closer. "My family's held this land for decades. Your client vandalized my fence and forged my name. Take it to court, I dare you." They left tires spitting gravel. Nate called. "That footage changes everything. We've got her." He filed a restraining order approved within hours, barring Linda from my property. But 3 days later, a bulldozer rumbled toward my pasture, followed by dump trucks and a Crestwood beautification banner. Prepping for a community garden, a worker said, "I grabbed my bullhorn, you're trespassing, sheriff's coming." Nate's report and the restraining order held. Danvers escorted them off, but they left a stake. Crestwood Development Lot, 68. They were carving up my land. I went to the press. Local reporter Jenna Holt aired my story. Rancher versus HOA forgery and bulldozers. It went viral. Then code enforcement arrived, citing non-compliant structures and livestock runoff. Finding me $14,500. Linda had used the county weapon against Caleb appeared shaken. "Mom's got files on your family zoning maps. Everything." She believes that ranch belongs to her. He handed me a USB drive, Linda's audio recordings, planning to break me. Nate filed suit, harassment, forgery, fraud. Jenna's revised headline, HOA President caught planning, land grab, created outrage. Linda crossed the restraining order, caught sneaking around to measure my fence at midnight. Danvers cuffed her, her screams echoing. A county notice came in, land rezoning hearing in 3 days. Someone in the county was still in her pocket. I set up a Save Harper Ranch page posting Linda's sabotage video and my account. It blew up. Farmers, veterans, even strangers signed up to attend the hearing. Crestwood's board kept their distance, saying Linda acted alone, but their new president, Sandra Pike, was Linda's friend. At the hearing, the room was packed. Nate presented our evidence, video, audio forgeries. I testified, "This ranch is my family's legacy." Crestwood forged my signature, sent bulldozers, and attempted to wipe us out. "I'm not seeking favors, just halt this land," grab masquerading as progress. The crowd cheered. Sandra's defense fell apart. The board rejected the reasoning voiding Crestwood's assertions. We sued for $1.2 million in damages. Weeks later, a court granted it. Slamming Linda for reckless abuse, Crestwood's board imploded. Sandra quit, and the HOA was audited. 3 weeks of quiet ensued. I expanded the ranch, purchasing 10 acres to shut out Crestwood once forever. Neighbors repaired my fence, sent pies, and posted, "We stand with Ethan's signs." But one day Nate called a zoning officer suing for defamation, saying you destroyed him. I smiled. The guy who signed Linda's fakes. We battled back. Jenna's second string series, Ranch vs. Crestwood, launched state audits and legislation to stop HOA abuse. A whistleblower leaked emails demonstrating Linda's conspiracy. The countersuit died. Our case took flight. Standing on my porch, coffee in hand, I watched a Crestwood SUV snap pictures of my barn. The driver took off. I gripped myself tighter. The ranch was mine, forged in fire, but I held onto my cameras and my proof tight. "They'll never get it," I whispered.